I think this QHack may be one of the most, maybe the most successful hackathon. And now Jen will present it. Stage is yours, Jen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm really excited to be part of this event on building community in quantum, because that is literally my job title, which is awesome. Of course, here at Zandu where I work, we have lots of folks who are, busily working away on hardware, to build an actual quantum computer. And we also have a big research and a developer team working on algorithms, and of course the open source quantum software package Penny Lane, which we lead the development of. But my role here is leading the community team, and we get to do all of the education, the outreach, the content online, and events. And our big flagship event every year is QHack. I think one of the original quantum hackathons started back in 2019. I will, get into things in a moment, but just for context, I thought given 10 minutes that maybe it would be best to spend our time looking into something fairly specific about this event rather than just giving you a big overview. And specifically looking at how we've been working to, improve the way we're contributing to the quantum community and to building the quantum community. And what I have to share is actually really a very simple thing, but I hope you enjoy it. It's the kind of thing that is really critical to making community building effective and is enabled by having access to good user data, aside from sort of post-event surveys and things like that. So let me show you what I have in mind. So just for a bit of context here, QHack, we've always had sort of fun themes. We started back in 2019. We've had 4 events because we did miss 2020, like many things. We had that gap. Just flipping through our programs here, you can see we've had different approaches. We really try to have a fun, not a corporate approach, to the way we present the event, even though, of course, we maintain a serious sort of intellectual level, really focused on learning. Here's this year's poster, and actually I guess you can't see, but I'm wearing the t-shirt as well. We enjoy our swag for these events. Now, of course, being online, we can and do attract people from around the world. You can see in our infographic here that although we're based in Canada here at Xanadu, only 10% of our participants actually come from Canada, and everyone else comes from everywhere else. So that's a really exciting, part of how QHack runs. We reach about 3,000 people. They form about 800 teams. So there's a lot of activity that goes on with QHack. And the main parts of QHack, there's a series of talks online, a bit like what we're doing right now. There's a hackathon with open-ended, topics for people to submit projects on, with very big prizes that are pretty exciting. And then there's the coding challenges. And what I wanted to do today is actually focus on the coding challenges and one particular thing that we did to really massively improve the impact of the coding challenges this past year. Latest event was just in February, so I can tell you a little bit about what we did. So just for context, the coding challenges, there's usually about 20-25 coding challenges of varying difficulty. You get points for completing them. And of course, the team with the largest number of points gets there first, basically, wins. Now, these are well-specified and structured problems, aimed at hands-on learning. So, you're writing code to learn, and, these aren't open-ended problems. They're very, specific. You have to, get a certain result in order to succeed. And these are by far the most popular, most participated in aspect of QHack. They get the best reviews. This is, although we work hard on all the parts, we know this is the part that people really love the best and probably has the greatest impact on people's involvement, with quantum computing in the future and their learning during this event. However, we had seen in previous feedback, for example, from last year, that there's still a very significant barrier to entry. And we can see as well that many teams were registering but never participating. So there's something that seemed to be preventing them from getting in. So in 2023, I want to show you what we actually did. So this is what our website would look like. I'm not on the actual website because that kind of thing never works when you try and do it live. So I'm just going to show you some screenshots here. But as if you register and you go in to view the challenges, so we built our own backend, for the challenge system this year. So basically, these challenges are, running on our platform. So we have full access to, everything from customizing the design to, really understanding how our users are interacting with these challenges. So this is what you would see if you were a participant in this event. You'd come into the challenge system. You could maybe check out your current rank and your team and pass submissions and get help. But right now we're looking at the challenges themselves. So if you scroll down a little bit, you'd see there's about 25 different challenge cards and they're worth different points. We put them all together in kind of a story this year, a bit of a kind of goofy sci-fi space themed story, which was pretty fun. And if we go in and take a look at one of these challenges, such as this Control Z here, we would see there's a little bit of backstory for fun and a greater sort of longer background explanation, which can be dug into if you feel like it. You can open this part up, and then some basic information about what the problem is going to be about. And then as you scroll down, there's the place where you enter your code. So the yellow stuff is the code that we have specified, which can't be changed. And then there's the spots where you can put your own code and hopefully get the right answer against the test cases, which are also things that we specified down here. So that's how the coding challenge system works. And maybe, if you're really comfortable with coding, you might look at this and think, well, this looks like super easy, but maybe if you're not, you might have that feeling that presumably many of our participants were having, that this looks kind of intimidating and, they weren't super comfortable getting into it. So we decided to do really, a fairly simple thing to change. In the past, we'd always felt like there wasn't really a barrier because we send beginners to all of our resources. We have piles of resources online, the Quantum Codebook, for example, which starts from the beginning, YouTube tutorials, which just start from like how to install Penny Lane, and yet, we were seeing this barrier. So this year we decided to put some tutorials straight into the coding challenges themselves. So these tutorials were all worth, maybe you can see here is 0 points, right? So there was no pressure, if you got them right, you got them wrong. If you never got them, it was no big deal. And actually the first tutorial challenge was literally to add 2 numbers together. That was it. Just put in, if you get, 2 inputs, you just have to output the sum of those 2. So it was very, very straightforward. And then gradually building up, if we go into say the second one here, we can see that your task is to implement this very simple circuit, initialize your 2 quantum bits in the 0 state, perform a couple of gates and do a measurement. We tried to get people going with, some resources for, even just starting at this level to see, if there are any problems, they could go in there. And, hopefully we would get people over that barrier. So, I'd say what we found, and this is the kind of data that we can get because it's, sitting on our systems and we can see everything that's happening. Here we have, I know this is a very detailed graph, but you don't have to worry too much about all the details. Basically, each of these bars represents the submissions for each of our challenges. The pink is the number of passing submissions and the gray is the number of failed submissions. And you can see they kind of top out about 1,500 submissions in total. So pretty good number. And these early ones here, these are the tutorial problems. So you can see right up, that X plus Y, tutorial problem there. Basically everybody gets that first go. But even, just that second one of initializing a really simple circuit and doing something very simple with it, obviously, it engaged people, but also caused them some problems. People had to go through a few times to get it right. So we can really see, the process of people learning here. Of course, this data also is really helpful for us. We can see, for example, that there were, some problems that, were much harder than others. Some problems that apparently people just didn't even want to try. They looked harder, which is fine, by the way. We always aim to have the hardest problems that we do be very hard. We want to challenge the top teams, and in practice, only about 10% of teams solved the the hardest problems. So that was good. Yeah, so we were really happy with this outcome. We know that the number, the proportion of teams that were in actively engaged and actually writing code was massively increased over last year. And we can see some other interesting things. And we had 8 tutorial challenges here. This is something we have to think about for next year. Apparently our first 4 were really effective, and our second 4 were kind of less effective, so we're really looking into what was going on there. So nice to have access to this sort of detailed data. And that was essentially what I wanted to show you. Yeah, we have our crazy infographic with all the all the QHack stats. Just for a bit of fun here. We had about 17,500 submissions, which was a really fantastic test of our new system. It worked really well. And I think that's about all I wanted to share today, just that small insight. So I appreciate your attention. Feel free to get in touch with me. My email's there, and also we're hiring. So you can check out our careers page, and we would be happy to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Is there any question? Maybe I can ask one. I don't know whether you have. Do you consider to write some technical report or some paper about all this experience and all this suggestion?
I don't know that we had thought about that, but it's really not a terrible idea. Yeah.
I think it would be very valuable. Okay.
Yeah, potentially. Sometimes these things feel like, as I say, they do feel like they're very simple things to do. So it seems almost like too much to to write a paper about it. But on the other hand, yeah, it is the way you build your actual community. So it's an interesting idea.